Hi there, welcome back to my channel. And if you happen to be new, welcome. And my name is Sandy. Today I'm working on a little mixed media project. I picked up some of these Tim Holtz little Easter eggs and the little Easter bunny. And I thought I would make a little scene inside of a glass aquarium. So come along with me. First, I'm starting off with the Easter eggs, and I pulled out my alcohol inks. These are from Ranger, and a lot of them are Tim Holtz alcohol inks. And he has a full demo over on his YouTube channel if you want to check that out. But I am just dropping in some ink into these are little Jello shot cups, which of course I had to have on hand. And I'm just putting different colors in the different cups, and I'm putting about 5 eggs in each little cup. And it took me a little bit to figure out the best method to do this, but I'll save you a little bit of the trouble. Is I put them in the cup, I swirl them around, and I do use a little bit of blending solution just to kind of keep the ink from drying too quickly. And then I'll take my heat gun and dry the eggs a little bit in the cup before I put them out on the mat to dry the rest of the way. And I really love these vibrant colors, so I'm using um, purple, this really pretty peach. I'll try to list all the colors down below. A green, a red, a yellow, an orange. So I tried to get a good variety of colors that I like in my Easter eggs. So I'm going to keep going through these, and then I'll be back and kind of show you the end result. Here are all the colors that I did for the Easter eggs. And now I am going to take my heat gun and kind of dry them. I was hoping they would just air dry, but then I remembered that Tim had suggested using a heat tool to dry these. So I'm going to grab that and then I'll show you the final result. Now I just put the heat tool on there very quickly, constantly moving so it didn't get too hot. And I think these turned out pretty good. They kind of are marbleized look, which is okay. You never know what you're going to get with alcohol inks, but I like the colors and I think it turned out pretty good. Next, I move on to painting the bunny, and I first tried the Dilutions ink spray melted chocolate and brushed that on, but when it dried, it turned in almost like a I don't know, a really just dirty looking color, and I didn't like that. So then I got out this truffle color paint from Walmart, and I painted the little bunny in that truffle color, and I let that dry. I did a couple coats. While I let the paint dry on the bunny, I got my terrarium out and started playing around with how I wanted to decorate it up. I know I had this little bucket that I had in my stash. It's the little Tim Holtz little buckets. And also I had this mushroom, and I somehow wanted to incorporate mushrooms in there, but this mushroom was kind of big, so I wasn't loving it. But I put some moss down in there, and I wanted to put the eggs inside the bucket. So just kind of play around with this while the paint dries on the rabbit. I would really appreciate it if you would hit the like button and leave a comment down below and let me know what you think of this project. The paint seems to have dried on the bunny. There's a few spots that I missed, so I'll have to go back and cover those. But this antique paste, I got this on Amazon. Pam at the Paper Outpost had recommended this, and I just used my finger and I'm lightly putting the antique paste on here just to give it kind of a bronzy effect. Um, it adds a nice little sheen, and I like the effect. I think the key for me is um, I just kind of play with the paint and the antique paste until I'm happy with the results. And then once I think I have enough of this antique paste on here, then I am good and I'll stop. I wasn't loving that moss that I had in there, and so I knew I had some different moss in my stash. So I found this, it's more of a kind of a leafy moss versus the other one that was kind of clumpy. And the other thing was I was trying to figure out a way to get the bunny some more height. And I was trying to use an upside down bucket that didn't seem to work. And so I had this little water well with a little bird on it from the Dollar Tree stash. It was kind of with all the little gnome creatures and things like that. So I picked that up a while ago and I thought that'll be perfect. I'll hot glue the bunny onto the edge of that water well. And then I also knew that I had some rocks and stones in my stash. So I pulled out a couple big stones and then a bunch of these little smaller rocks. And I think it's starting to come together. It took me quite a while to kind of play around and think about what I had in my stash to use. And so I'm just kind of laying, I wanted to have a couple eggs spill out onto the ground and kind of be resting there on the rocks. And then I had put a couple Easter eggs inside the water well um, as well. And I'm going to have the bunny sit right there. And I'll have some better angles here when I get in. And then I really wanted something in that back corner. And like I said, this mushroom that I had was too big. And then I remembered that I had some little wooden mushrooms from the Dollar Tree. I continue to get the rocks and the stones the way I like them, along with the little Easter eggs and the moss. And then I hot glue the bunny onto the edge of the well. And so this is how it's looking so far. It's kind of hard to show you at this angle, but I think it's coming together pretty nicely. And you can kind of see the gold antique paste on the bunny. Here are the mushrooms. And so I'm going to go and paint. I only need one or two, but I'm going to go ahead and paint several of them just because I forgot I had them and I wanted to go ahead and paint some since I have my paints out. And that way I'll have them ready for any other future projects. So here I've just pulled out, um, I forget the name of these paints. I'll list those down below too. But it's kind of basically an ivory or an off-white. I also pick out a tan, a green, and also a brown. And I just play around with how I want to paint these. I'll kind of speed this up so you can see this part of it. But I'm gonna paint the base that ivory color, and then the tops I'm gonna use the tan, the green, and the brown. Once I have the stem of the mushrooms painted, I also do the underside of the top of the mushroom in that same off-white color, and then move on to painting the tops of them. And I'm starting off with this color here, and I think that's a Michael's paint, if I remember correctly. And I really thought this was going to be more tan, but I really love this mushroomy color that this came out. So I'm just going to speed up the video through this part of painting the mushrooms. Let me know if you're still with me in the comments below. And if you're new, I would love it if you would subscribe. On this green one, I just took the other end of my paintbrush and dipped it into the off-white to create little dots on this one. So cute. On these other mushrooms, I thought they were just too flat looking with just one color of paint. So here I've gone back with contrasting different colors of paint and just very lightly dry brushing them on there just to give them kind of a striation. And then I'm taking my antique paste and just ever so lightly putting that over the top of the mushrooms and giving that just another layer of dimension there. So I'm ready to hot glue these mushrooms in, and you can see I'm going with the polka dotted one in the back and then one of the other ones in the front, and just using my Lynn Lily glue gun, which I absolutely love. So I think adding two mushrooms is just extra fun. They're sitting there on the rocks. And then let me show you how it looks. I'll do a little close up here. But I want to show you these mushrooms first. These I think are pretty cool. So I'll have these already ready and painted in my stash. And hopefully you can kind of see the gold a little bit in there, the gold paste. I think it adds a little extra something. And so here is my little scene, little Easter bunny. I also added some antique paste to the well, the pump. I'll add some other pictures here at the end. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this different kind of project and hit the like button. And I will see you all on the next video. Bye.